This image that is too yellow, and this one's an interesting challenge because across the left over here in the other room, we have some light coming in from a window, so it gives it like a blue cast. These walls actually have a yellow tint to them, and so there's just a lot of mixed colors and stuff in here. I wanted to go through the edit real quick so that you could see how to sort of choose the proper colors for your room if your white balance wasn't set correctly when you shot it in the first place. And even if it was set correctly, in an instance like this, you're going to get a lot of color cast. So we'll take a look at that. Now, the first thing you could do is you could come up here to the white balance tool, and this little eyedropper will let you choose something in the screen that should be white. I usually go for like an outlet. I know that this door was white. The challenge in this room is that the walls are actually yellow. So if I clicked on the walls, they would go white, and then everything else would go blue. We can look at that in a second. And also, I know that the ceiling was white, which is usually the case, and so you just want to make note of that while you're in the area. Now, one thing you could do is you could go through as shot, and you could choose maybe auto. Does that look a little better? That's not too bad. Come down here, you could choose daylight. What does that do? That makes it way more yellow, cloudy, and you've just got these other options here that changes the white balance settings. And try and find one that matches the most. That's really horrible. Fluorescent lighting, that actually looks pretty good with the blue over here. We could fix that. Or flash, I did not use a flash on this shot. And custom white balance. So the custom white balance is there is because I already clicked this. Let's just go back to as shot and show you what happens when you click. So you grab the eyedropper tool, and then you could choose something in the image that should be white. Let's take a look at this outlet cover here. Sometimes they're tinted a little bit yellow, but there you go. That looks really well. You can see that the whole ceiling is now white, and the door is mostly white. If we picked on the door instead, then it might pull out more of those blues because there's sort of a yellow cast from all these walls, and the wall across from it is sort of reflecting off of the door. We could go off the ceiling, and it's all very similar because these are all white things. So now that we're kind of close, we could come down. I'm going to scroll down on the right hand side, and we can take a look at what's actually yellow. Let's blast the saturation level on yellow, and you can see how dark yellow this turns. These walls are actually yellow, so they're supposed to be yellow, but if you wanted to pull like some of the color out, if it comes in around the light or anything like that, that's very common, then you could pull the saturation down with this slider so that those yellow things aren't quite so yellow. And now let's take a look at the blue, and we know that sunlight is coming in through this other room. So if I blast the blue, you can see that there is a blue cast here. This whole room is blue, and then again, the door is reflecting off of this wall. So we could pull that back. Now, if there was something that was supposed to be blue, like the carpet is supposed to be blue, or maybe there's a painting on the wall that's very common, then you would mask that one thing out and then change the blue, pull that blue slider down. We don't actually have anything in this room that was blue, so we could pull that down all of the way and take all of the blue cast out. That looks pretty nice. But if you just wanted to affect like one area, you could come up here to where your masking is, and I like the objects usually, so I can grab my objects option, and I can just draw a big square around the area, and then sort of auto masks that whole area. And I could go in there and say, let's look at this blue color, and I took the eyedropper and I pointed to where the blue really is. How about this spot right there? Yeah, you can tell there's a lot of blue in that. And then I can just grab this saturation slider and slide it down just for that area. Now it doesn't fix this, but I could maybe add to the mask, grab my brush tool and just brush that area in where it's blue, pull that blue cast out that way. So now, if we turn off the mask and we go down here to the blue slider and crank it out like we did before, you see there's still a little bit of blue in those areas. It just took the blue out that we eye dropped, but this is a much more natural look. It doesn't look like we just took everything out like that. There's a little bit of color cast, so it depends on your taste, how you want it. You don't want the whole image to look black and white because if there's no saturation in it anywhere, then it's not going to look natural. So that is how you adjust the white balance in your image. Another thing that I would like to do is take a look at my histogram up here, and you can see that this little pyramid, this little triangle up in the right hand corner is showing, if I click on that, it's showing me where my highlights are blown out. And then in the left hand corner, it's showing me where my shadows are too dark. So an easy way to fix that is just to grab you see how this pointer became like a slider and it's highlighting different areas of the histogram. I can actually click and drag that down, and it's going to affect those areas that were peaking, and you can see that the red is now gone. So that's a much more believable look. There's some texture back in here and they're not all blown out. Let's do the same thing for our shadows right here and just bring those shadows till that blue is gone or that little triangle disappears. In this case, the triangle is probably not going to disappear because these are lights. They are bright white, so they're gonna, we got it out there, but you can see when I go too far, my ceiling starts to go gray and we're getting some weird color anomalies in here, so I don't want to go quite that far with it. But I'll just take those highlights down. You can kind of do the same thing here, but this is going to affect different areas, so you can pull your highlights all the way there and maybe grab these shadows and just brighten that floor up a little bit, and I would call that room done.